one vital fact I would like to submit.
Okay.
Yeah, wow. Why, hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well on this wonderful Tuesday night. Hopefully staying safe and sane. You know what I'm saying? My name is AJ, one half of this wonderful dynamic duo. And as always, it is my honor to introduce the Poiema Studio podcast, my boy. And before we get to our fresh guest, let me get to my amazing co-host.
Thank you, AJ, for the introduction. Yes, thank you, everyone, for tuning in again to the Poiema Studio podcast, bringing awareness to mental health and, trying to reach our mission of suicide prevention. And like AJ said, our fresh guest, but more than anything, he's part of the Poiema pack. Rigo.
He's a part of the PP.
You'll see him around, definitely around. Introduce yourself. Tell us why you're here tonight.
And why you dress so fresh?
Well, yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, really.
Yes.
We go back.
Yes.
We go way back, and it feels like family in here, so it's
Familiar.
going to be a good
That's awesome.
time. We're going to have a good time tonight.
Yeah, this is like, we should have had Rigo on the podcast a long time ago, but
Yeah.
I should have been like one of the first. We should tell the story of how we did a podcast that never got released.
that's true.
We got JC. We had like a collection of people.
Yeah.
We had JC, Jim.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, the story does start about Rigo brought me onto his podcast, New Limits podcast.
Shout out.
And then that kind of pushed me into finally, starting our podcast. So thank you, Rigo, for allowing us to reach our new limits, which is the name of your podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from being our neighbor upstairs with Villagomez Real Estate Brothers, you've really been involved in just helping us grow here at Poiema. We have so much to talk about, but let's start with your background. Where are you from? How are you here? All of those things that I think are very important.
Yes,
Of course. So, yes, like you mentioned, I do real estate. But more than that, human being.
Yes.
And musician, dancer. Art has been my life. Art has been my savior. And how I got here, how I got to this podcast, that's a good question. So I grew up the youngest of four. So I have 3 older siblings. And to make a long story short, we moved from California, which was a small, shout out to Cali, shout out to Greenfield.
Pero primero de Guanajuato.
Shout out.
First from Guanajuato.
Of course, Guanajuato. My
Arriba
parents,
Guanajuato.
first generation immigrants. My parents immigrated from Guanajuato.
Shout out, Carreras.
My parents were the ones that, crossed the border. They crossed the river. Man, crazy stories. My dad had to cross it multiple times to get here. So first of all, man, thanks to, my dad and my mom who decided to make that trip over here. That's literally risking their lives
Shout out your fam.
to make it
Yes.
out here and create a better life for us.
For sure.
I moved over here when I was about 14 years old to South Elgin, Illinois. Went to school to St. Charles. And I was just completely, like a black sheep in high school. I was just one of those kids that didn't fit in high school. I was one of like 3 Hispanics, and I don't even look Hispanic.
Yeah, and that's
People
a
always
funny
confuse
story.
me for Middle Eastern.
Yeah, when I met
Oh
you,
my
because we met
God.
at a dance studio,
Yeah.
and then
Shout
we
out
started
mistaken
talking,
Middle Eastern brothers.
and I was like, "How does this Indian guy know Spanish?"
Exactly.
And then we started talking, and then we related on that, on not looking a certain way. Like we definitely don't look. Well, when I was younger, I didn't look Mexican. I was like super blonde, so we related on that. And then you shared your story about your struggle, like moving from California now, and the schools that you went to. So, yeah, keep going on the story.
yeah, exactly. We connected at the dance studio, and like most kids, like a lot of kids can probably relate moving across the country and not knowing anybody and trying to make new friends and like being like also socially like not being socially savvy. It was a huge like it was like a traumatic experience to me. It was, so
It was like you not even just being emotional savvy. I bet
Yeah.
it was hard because like it's a different environment. Social
Yes,
standards,
for sure.
environments are different from California to Illinois. Like major, bro. especially to all you people who say pop, stop, please, just
Yeah,
stop.
that was new to me. Like, pop,
Yeah,
what is
right?
pop? I was
I'm
like,
like,
what the hell's pop?
what is pop? You gonna pop me? Oh no.
Yeah, but that makes
Exactly.
you think about our parents. Like you're talking about the country. Imagine
Yes, imagine them.
their
Yeah, they must have gotten it. different
their
with it.
country, like their homeland. You know.
Yeah.
So here you are in South Elgin.
Mhm. So here I was.
This little brown sheep.
The
that
little
looks
brown
Indian.
sheep, exactly. Dude, the people would always, my peers would always confuse me to Indian.
Yeah.
So shout out to the cameraman right there.
Yes.
Lalo. We go way back. Actually, Lalo was one of my first best friends moving out here.
That's awesome.
Me and him would always hang out. So art to me was like my conduit to be able to express my emotions and what I was feeling at the time.
Mhm.
My brother bought me my first guitar when I was around 15 years old,
Nice.
and it was a Christmas gift. You don't know how happy I was.
Wow.
Like I was like, oh my god, I did not know how to play guitar. I didn't even know like how to even hold it, nothing. But like to me, ever since I saw a guitar, I was like, I want to play that one day.
That's cool.
And I remember like being like, what was like 8 years old. I would always put on headphones and I would like pretend I was like in the band, you know.
Oh,
I would always pretend I was in the band. So I learned on YouTube, and to
Wow.
me that was like, I was able to just spend my days after school just learning guitar, getting my licks in.
That's
and,
dedication right there.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That leads into a
Dedication.
question. Like, I feel like in our day and age today, like, what do you think about YouTube? I feel like that's such a great avenue because, as you
Yeah.
just said, there's a whole YouTube channel called Dad How Do I. So if you don't have a
Mhm.
dad, dude, like, I mean,
That's pretty awesome.
that's gonna be hard emotionally, but you know, in the
Yeah.
sense of like, Dad How Do I? Like, they have this thing where he teaches you how to tie a tie, change a
Yeah.
tire, like
Yeah.
do all the oil,
life skills.
life skills that you
Yeah.
like your quote unquote father would teach you.
Yeah.
So like that's amazing that you brought that up because I always like to tell
Yeah.
people, I'm like, sometimes if you can't figure it out, YouTube it out.
Dude,
Yeah.
YouTube is
like life.
Yeah, and that's
Can
the
we,
way.
can we
the way-
swear here?
Hey.
YouTube is the shit.
It is the shit. I kind of cuss a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. No, and that's actually why I think it's awesome that we have these platforms to share these stories, you know. So you're sharing about, you know, coming into a different place, different school. Now you're in high school.
Right.
Because you started playing the guitar at 8. So by
middle
high
school.
school, you're already a professional, right? Or no? Ed
And
wants
Alright.
to say something. But anyway, so you started playing the guitar at 8
you want
years
to?
old. Ay.
Ay, ¿qué?
What? Start
what
over?
happened?
¿Qué pasó?
Kiki-
Don't mind.
he wants a mic, right? He wants a
Alright,
mic. All right, let's do it. Whatever.
Okay, let's
No,
do it.
no,
Okay.
wait.
Dude, you gotta be on this.
Pause
man.
it. You could.
I could grab a mic.
Oh. All right. Well, if you're freaked out about what happened, listen. This conversation went so well that we needed another soul. So, soul number 4, please introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you. I got super excited, actually overly excited that I was over here in the background with my phone, like, hey, we should do this, restart it. But like, you know what? No, let's keep this going. I don't know why. I just needed to be in this.
He was so excited he was about to explode.
It's because he's part of Rigo's story, so he's
Yeah.
like,
That's
include
true.
me,
Yeah.
please.
It's almost like necessary, actually.
It's true.
That's right.
I feel like
That's right.
Ed feels like he is part of what made Rigo.
That's it.
When we
Look.
talk about my story, there's a several chapters,
Oh.
fucking sagas that involve Ed. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, you got a
same
trilogy.
same thing with me. Like my childhood and everything growing up here, it involves Rigo. So
That's awesome.
Yep.
yeah.
Shout
Yeah.
out.
So yeah, this is a great party now. We
Awesome.
we doing good
Thank
shit
you
now.
for having me.
Go ahead.
Thank
Of
you.
course. I mean, you was here already. We might.
So we mentioned him earlier. You know, he was one of my best friends coming here. He was actually one of my best friends and one of my only friends when I first moved out here.
Oh.
So we connected also with music. He taught me a lot on guitar, and then it was because of him that I started learning drums. Because we needed a drummer
Yes.
in a band. So I was
Sick.
like, fuck
Cool.
it, I'll learn it. So I
That's
got back
awesome.
in YouTube and learned the drum.
Again,
Really?
Like full circle, bro. YouTube for the win.
And actually, we have our drums here because that's something else that you've been helping us execute.
Yes, drumming is a passion of mine, and I kind of left it for a while, but I'm coming back at it and coming back with good intentions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, healing power of drums.
For
They
For
say
real,
that
though.
the first heartbeat that we have ever hear, or the first beat that we ever hear, is our mother's heartbeat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? My mother's heartbeat was like a trap beat. You know what I'm saying? It was like
Yeah.
I was like, okay, my friend.
That created your rhythm of life.
And I was like,
Yes.
oh, I came out the womb. They told the doctors told me I came out the womb, Jimmy. I was like, what's up?
That's why you're able to make
Funny.
beats right now. You're able to
Yeah.
bust rhymes and make those
Always.
beats.
They call me Busta Rhymes,
Hilarious.
the lighter version.
Yes.
Mine was like a bolero beat or something.
Aww. So
What was your
That's
beat?
something
What was your
else.
beat?
I'm
I
saying
don't
A
know.
hip hop,
I'm
an
a-
EDM beat.
me, yeah, EDM with a mix of bolero. So
Or
you're in
rock.
high school. You know how to play the guitar. And what was it like to be in high school? You know, like you said, a very few Latinos in what was it?
Mhm. St. Charles.
St. Charles.
North. What was it like?
Yeah,
It was very isolating.
isolating.
Yeah, it was very. I was like, I almost felt like I needed to be a shell of myself because I
Mm.
couldn't really fully express myself and I couldn't connect
Mm.
with my peers or with the other students that were there because
Mhm.
I was brought up totally different compared to them. I came from
Yeah.
a different culture, a different state. Where I lived, it was 99.999% Hispanic in California.
Wow.
And we grew up, we all went to the same school from kindergarten up to high school. Like all our class was stuck together. It was a small
Wow.
town.
Mhm.
And I came out here and it's just like, and over there it's outdoor school and here is indoor
Really?
school
Wow.
because we don't have fall.
No, that's really true.
snow.
When I went to high school out there, I loved it because like
Yeah.
outside lunch was nice.
Yeah.
And then the only thing was inside was classes. And then
Yeah.
you go here and it's like you're in prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
For real.
So it was very isolating and I got verbally like not attacked, maybe not, I wouldn't say bullied, but it was just like little verbal things that got to me
Mm.
because I was like, damn, I'm not like them. So I tried very hard to fit in.
Mm.
I tried very hard to fit in that culture. And now looking back at it, like I'm actually appreciative of that time because I love classic rock now. I
Mm.
love like everything that involves drumming with rock and everything. It's
Mm.
because of that, because I started listening to that type of music.
Yeah. So
because of that
it
school.
like broadened your horizon, right?
There you go.
Yes. I could connect with anybody,
Different
Yeah,
people.
different cultures.
But definitely when you're in that situation at that age, it's hard because you're like, I don't fit in. Everybody's different.
And and I was placed in special, like not special needs, but I was like the school system in California, it's not the best.
Mhm.
And they were like, you're very far behind in English and math compared to here.
Wow.
So I had to take like a bus. I had to take the high school bus in 8th grade, get up
Mhm.
super early to catch that bus and go to like a special class before everyone started school.
Oh wow.
And
Wow.
and like just like try to catch up on my English and my math and everything. Yeah.
wow.
I didn't even
So-
know it was that bad.
Yeah. So it was an interesting experience.
That must have been a challenge for sure.
So
Yeah.
music definitely helped you out through this experience.
Definitely. Yes.
Mhm.
Music was the biggest therapy for me.
That's great. That's great. And that's what we want to do here at the studio, which is part of why we started the drumming circle. And you've been part of it. So apart from that, I think that your New Limits podcast is something that, you share with others because of your story. Tell us a little bit more about what this podcast means to you and everything.
Yeah, definitely. So, yes, I do have a podcast. I started it back in December, but it was an idea that was brewing in my head for a while. So this podcast is called New Limits Podcast, and the name came about because it was definitely a special time last year where I started my new career, and I was kind of like just pushed into it. I really wanted to do real estate, and I wanted to do it full time for the benefits that comes with it. Creating a lifestyle around it. And then the COVID kicked in. The COVID.
COVID. I was
I was
like,
like-
for a second.
Did you really just go and spell it out? Hey, we're an educational
That's
system.
we don't want to get shadow banned on YouTube.
Oh, that's facts.
What was that again? Can you repeat that one more time?
You said,
Yeah. So that kicked in, and like, one thing happened, one thing led to another. I got let go on my job, and I was like, all right, looks like I'm doing real estate full time now.
Wow.
So it really forced myself to push myself out of my comfort zone. So the
Mhm.
name New Limits to me comes with a lot of awareness, knowing your limits, knowing where you stand, keeping track. I'm a big like numbers guy, so especially like whenever I hit the gym or whenever I keep track of like how many calls I make, what are my sets, what are my reps. I like to keep track so I can see, okay, this is my limit here. What if I shoot for, okay, I can do 8 reps. Next time I'll shoot for 10.
So almost like a new stepping stone.
A new stepping stone
to reach your goals. And you have guests that share their stories about passion and purpose.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing. Like you said, the new stepping stone. There's so much, like, for me, there's so much excitement that comes from that new stepping stone. Like, holy shit, I didn't know I can actually do 12. Like, that wasn't that bad. What if next time I do 15? Or whatever you're doing, whatever it is that you're going through. Like, even if it is, maybe you're trying to be more socially out there because you just want to make new friends. Like me, I was new to a city. Maybe I just go talk to like 1 or 2 people. Whoa, that wasn't even that bad. It actually went really good. Next time I'll talk to like 3 more, 5 more.
Yeah, some people I think really need that. They need to see where they're getting ahead.
Yeah.
Like some people need some kind of, goal to reach. Yeah.
Like a roadmap.
Yes.
Like a personal map.
Definitely. Yeah, and even when we met, like that kind of initiated something new. So it was definitely like setting a goal.
Yes. So when we met, we had this talk about starting this podcast. Yes. So that's the other thing too. The podcast is also, I love bringing on guests that not only inspire my listeners, but inspire me, it's just people that are, I want to call it like a tribe almost. It's kind of like a tribe where you can feel the energy of somebody, that they're out there, doing the hustle and they want to do and achieve greater things, and you can see like the potential and you can feel that energy. I'm like, awesome. Yes, I want to talk to you. I want to get inspired by you, and let's make things happen.
Let's make things happen. Yes.
Make magic.
Make magic.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's how like this whole thing came about.
Yes. And now you're working with your brother in real estate. What was it like for you? Just how was it taking care of yourself, through this big change as a career?
Say that again?
What are the things that you do to take care of yourself? Like how, in this change of a career?
Yeah.
What helped you through that, especially through such a big change?
So what helped me through that is definitely a support group and a support system. Shout out to Modern Success. That's another family of mine. I'm part of an amazing group of people. I would give a lot of credit to them and to Brian Casella, because they're just people who are it's like a support group. You always want to have a good environment around you, and luckily my brother has been there to support me. Brian and my peers have been there to support me. If I ever have any questions or doubts, insecurities, these are people, even like you, AJ, this whole group here, you guys are also a big part of that. Yeah, these are people you can come to and just like express yourself, say what you're going through and not be judged. But also they will listen to you and provide you feedback if you want it,
Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about being in the right environment with the right people.
Yeah.
Like-minded people that are going to support your dreams and goals,
Definitely. The environment to me is like probably one of the most important, if not the most important pillar of like creating something new.
That's awesome.
You are a product of your environment, whether you want to believe it or not. You
For
take
sure.
everything in, music, visuals, of course, smells. I know smells for me, man. I smell some good food. I'm coming that way. But totally. Like, I think that people need to be more aware of where they place themselves in life and who they set themselves up with, and again, like just how often you maybe go somewhere, because somewhere might be good for you, but then if you go there consistently, it might not be a good thing. It's always being aware of again your limits and what you should be taking on.
And I didn't grow up in the best environment either. My parents, like most parents, they're awesome and they do the best that they can. I love my parents, but they did put a lot of limiting beliefs on me. Growing up, they very negative, like, no, you can't do that, don't do that, you should do this or that. Like a good one is probably like, why don't you just go to school, get a good job, that way you can buy a house, and then you end up living this life that's not even yours.
Exactly.
You don't even know who you are, what you like. You're just like a zombie, and that's another part of my story.
Yeah, you've shared that before about how hard it was to graduate college and then share that, because I think that's important. Like, we want to share that part of your story for sure.
Yeah.
For other youth that feel the same way out there, maybe feeling stuck in the way they've been conditioned to live.
Yeah. So you want me to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, you should share about that. That's a good part of your story.
Yeah. So growing up in this high school, right? Very prestigious high school.
Mm-hmm.
My peers, they drove BMWs, they drove Mercedes. Like these kids that were 16, 17 years old driving these amazing cars. And here I am with my little Toyota Tacoma, 1996 Toyota Tacoma.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Toyota Tacomas.
Yes. So like I was trying very hard to just fit in, and I wanted to just be like accepted, you know. You feel like kind of disenfranchised,
especially in high school, man. You want to be like that. You're like, you want to be in, you know.
Yeah.
If you're not, oh, good luck, bro.
Exactly.
Them emotions gonna eat you up.
Fuck yeah. So everyone was like, when it was senior year, you know, everyone was like, oh yeah, I'm going to this school, I'm going to that school, I'm going to this school. I'm like, damn, what school am I going to? You know, me and my parents never had that talk of like, where do you want to apply? Let's start going to colleges in the summer and see which one you like.
Yeah,
it's definitely not my parents,
No.
and I'm sure most of
parents,
Latino
parents,
most of Latino parents,
they don't go college
because that wasn't part of their the process
plan.
of their life.
No.
You know, they're here.
Even just the fact that like I'm in high school and not in gangs, they're probably like, oh, you're doing great, you know. I'm not knocking up anybody at 16 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, so your parents want you to go to college though, right? You go to college.
Yeah. So my parents always want the best for me. So I decided to just apply to a private school and just to say like I'm going to college. And just in case someone asked me, you know, like, oh, where are you going to? I had something to say. I had an answer to reply to them, and it made me feel better inside. But in reality, it wasn't who I was. It's not what I wanted to do. So I went to this college, and so I wasn't even focused there. I was miserable. I was a zombie there.
Wow.
I was just taking classes, barely passing. You know, I was focused on other things. Luckily, you know, I was able to graduate. And once I graduated, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna focus on music now. You know, I was like, I just took on all this debt, but I don't even care. I'm so excited that I'm not in school anymore. I'm going to focus on music now.
Wow.
So that's when, after I graduated, that's when I started getting in bands. I started playing in a few local bands, and I started just getting out there and playing music shows.
Do you think that allowed you to release a lot of things that you had been holding in though? Like it was kind of like probably like a season in your life where you're like releasing, you know, everything that you've been building through all these years.
Going to school?
No, like music, you know, after school. It was a way to release a lot of things you had been holding in.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, when I would play, I would always play, like the first thing I would always do coming back from school or high school or whatever is just pick up the guitar and play and see what new songs I can play. Yeah, it's definitely a release. Even now to this day, like when I'm having a good day, when I'm having a bad day, when I just feel like I need to release something, I play and I sing up here in my office.
Yeah.
In the office that we have, you know.
It's a pretty cool office too.
Yeah. And Ed, it looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, Ed seems like he wants to say something.
Yeah. Oh no, I was like definitely agreeing. I was like, yeah, I can hear you out the window. It sounds really good.
Yeah, I'm like singing now. I don't even care who's listening. Before I was a little more self-conscious, but now I'm just like, dude, I don't even care. This is for me. It's not for anybody else.
Well, on that note, what would you tell the younger Rigo, you know, back in high school, if you could talk to him now and, you know, give him a piece of advice? What would that look like? What would that sound like?
Better shoes for hacky sack.
Yes, I love hacky sack.
Talking mad trash right now, guys.
Oh man, we were just playing hacky sack. Hacky sack is a great sport, by the way. That was another big part of me growing up. It's also another release. You know, you release those endorphins, exercising. But if I could go back and tell the younger Rigo something, man, I would tell him a lot of things. But if I could think of one thing, I would just say, I would say, be you, but also don't give a shit about like what others think about you. Like don't, because you're just holding in your light that you can shine on the world.
Yes.
Like you have everyone here has a special talent, a special potential.
Yes.
And just because someone tells you that you can't do it or that you shouldn't do it or that that's not like what's in right now or whatever, doesn't matter, because you're doing it for you. And whenever you can fill your cup, you can give that to others.
Yes.
You know, you can give love to others, and that will just come back to you.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice for sure.
Oh, that's a great note, actually. Too, I was like, wow, jeez, what a speech. I love it, though. Yeah,
I'm really inspired here.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And, you know, I've seen your growth since we met. And also, you know, you're working with people, you know, now helping them find their home. How do you connect with someone who is in your field? And maybe now you get to see different people living different experiences, moving. Is there a different lens that you see people through now?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. One of the things that I've been working on a lot lately is empathy, you know, empathy and being more empathetic. Yeah.
Yes, empathetic.
Empathetic towards others and other people's situation. You never know what other people are going through. And, you know, I'm just so grateful to be in a position where I can like help somebody in need. That's probably like the one human need that we can all get good like feelings from, is helping somebody that needs help.
Yes.
And I'm just like, wow, this is an awesome gift. Even if I can help one person, like if a day goes by where I can't help one person, I feel a little off. I'm like, I didn't help anybody today. I'm gonna go and like make some calls, see if I can help. You know? Yeah,
and you've shared about how sometimes you make a call and then all of a sudden you're having these conversations that have nothing to do with real estate.
Yes.
And just getting to meet people. I think that's something really cool about your job, because you get to meet all kinds of people.
You meet, and your job literally in real estate is just to connect with people and talk to people. Because if there's one thing that drives culture and society, it's going to be real estate, buildings. There's always going to be a roof that someone needs over their head.
Facts.
So that's the cool thing about my job, is that
recession proof.
You can actually like, your job is to go and meet new people.
Yeah. And you do door knocking, which is, you know.
I love doing that. Most people are like, how do you do that? Like, how do you like doing it? I'm like, dude, it's awesome.
Well, this is probably like the best year to do that, because everybody was stuck at home. So you probably had a lot of people answering their doors.
There was a big open rate. Yeah, that's for sure.
That's good. That's awesome. So where do you see yourself in a few years when it comes to, you know, your career, your podcast? What do you hope to, you know, do in the future?
You know, I just take it one day at a time. I always tell myself one day at a time, because you can only focus on one day. I mean, it's great to set long-term goals, short-term goals. Yeah, I do all that. Take it one day at a time. But also, I mean, I want to build eventually, like we were talking earlier, I'm like, I can feel like my New Limits podcast building into something greater than me, you know? It started out just like my job, you know? It starts out with you, but then also you create something that's greater than you. You allow someone, you help somebody with the purchase of their home. You help somebody create a home atmosphere. So I want to make this something bigger than me. Yeah. I want to just provide that. I don't know, it could be classes, it could be workshops, it could be, you know, things that have helped me in my journey, music, who knows, but it's going to be fun.
And helping, you know, maybe younger people that have, you know, traveled the journey like you shared, moving into a different state and all the struggles you had as a child.
Yeah.
So thank you for being vulnerable today and, you know, sharing those parts of yourself.
For sure.
Because it's not easy, you know, to say you went through that, but I think it's important, especially because, you know, I think a lot of youth, you know, especially as Latinos, we tend to not fit in a one specific category, you know, como decimos, ni de aquí ni de allá.
Ni de aquí ni de... That's the other thing,
not from here,
too.
Not from there.
Yeah, dude, I have family. Yeah, that's the other thing. Ni de aquí ni de allá, you know? And I love Mexico. You know, we went to Mexico a lot as kids. But my cousins, you know, they treat you differently because, you know, they're always like, well, how long are you going to stay here this time? You only stay for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks max. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah.
So, another thing that we're going to be doing on Thursdays is starting a children's drumming circle.
Yes.
And that's going to be super cool. I'm really excited about that. And you're going to be helping with that. What do you feel about drumming? Like, what is drumming for you? I know you played in bands, but what is it about drumming now?
So, yeah, I'm like I said, I was getting back into drumming again, and Oh man, drumming just brings so much good emotions to me.
Mm-hmm.
To me, drumming is like another release,
Yes.
another release. And then we started doing these drumming circles.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're out there drumming, if you've never been in a drumming circle before, you have to at least experience it once, because when you get a circle full of people drumming to one rhythm and one different beats, but like the same kind of rhythm,
Mm-hmm.
it almost creates like a meditative state.
It
Like
does.
you have nothing else to focus on but that moment, that beat, and everything else, all your worries, all your troubles, all your anxieties, insecurities, they don't matter at that moment, because you're just focusing on the drumming,
Yeah.
and you're focusing on connecting with your partner.
Yeah.
You're sharing solos.
Connected vibes.
Connected vibes.
Yeah, thanks for our floor mat that you got
Yes.
us. Connected vibes.
Hashtag connected vibes.
If you can
Yes.
see it, you probably can't.
We'll show you later. Or I guess we'll show you right
We'll
now.
show you now.
Oh Lord!
There you go. Thank you, AJ. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Shout out Connected Vibes. We
Connected
had
Thank
to.
you, Rigo.
Shout out Rigo for the gift.
You guys can look at Poiema Studios, hashtag connected vibes.
Yes.
You'll be able to
Hashtag,
find them there
You know
as
what I'm saying? We'll probably put it
Yeah.
for people to see it easier.
But yeah, I mean, I'm super
God.
grateful and appreciative to have that opportunity to
Yeah.
help you with your drumming circle, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
It-
No, we appreciate you so much. You're always here supporting our open mic nights, our events. We really truly appreciate
Yeah.
you. And also thank you for the Proudly Bilingual book that you got us,
Yes.
because that is really who we are, and we share that. You know, we sometimes are going to speak Spanish, sometimes English, Spanglish or whatever, but
Mhm.
that is what makes us who we are. So
Hmm. It's part
So
of
we
our
have to-
identity.
yeah, part of our identity, and we truly value you as a friend and
Mhm.
part of the Poema Pack.
Mhm.
So thank you for being here.
Thank
Truly
you,
appreciate
Amelia.
you.
Thank
As
you for
always.
inviting me.
Thank you for being
Yeah.
fresh.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
You know, so you always gotta be fresh.
Yeah, thank you for being fresh, and
Yeah.
again, like she said, thank you for being vulnerable and
Mhm.
sharing your stories and what got you to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because who knows, you might have touched somebody. You're like, wow, you know what?
Yeah.
Maybe I should just be more accepting of the cultures that I'm around.
Yeah, and that's something that I love to share, man. I just love to share my story, or anybody's story of growth, because
Mhm.
I mean, when you realize that other people are going through maybe similar struggles, maybe even greater struggles than you, man,
Yeah.
you're like, oh wait, I have more potential inside of me. And this is something that I want to explore also on my podcast.
Mhm.
I want to do a series on confidence,
Yeah.
on anxiety,
Yeah, let me get that first series. You know what I'm saying?
on looking fresh.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
I need that series.
We need to re-record our episode.
Oh yeah, we need to. We
Yeah,
need to do a
you're
few.
behind me.
Yes.
Oh, the
Yes.
disrespect.
But
No,
this
I
is,
see.
this is something that I can see maybe what I'm
In the
talking about,
future.
like growing the new
Yeah.
limits, something greater than me.
And that's good that you're looking
Yeah.
for new limits.
Yes, you always got to look
know
for
what I'm
new
saying?
limits, and
Yes.
limits could have a negative connotation.
Yeah, the same thing like
But-
we talked about, manipulation can have a negative connotation,
Yeah.
but you can't always look at everything as such. You know what I'm saying? That's
Exactly.
why I tell people the world is not black and white. It is
No.
gray. It is so many colors of gray, and you just got to
Mhm.
be cool with whatever color or shade you
Yeah.
want. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That's really all that matters.
It's just being able to face the truth, man.
Yeah.
Being able to face the truth and say, like, damn, I do have these limits. Let me shatter them and create new ones.
Heck yeah.
And you probably had a lot of limits too, like just being the youngest of all your siblings. Like
For sure.
you probably had a lot of
That's
things
another
that.
part of the story.
let's go into that part of the
one of
story.
the favorite, one of my favorite lines that I've ever heard is the only limitations you have are those you ever place upon yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
it's
true.
like, yeah, of course you have limits, but most often than not, it's just you saying that you have those limits.
Yeah, I like what you just said. What if you set higher? Like, can you repeat what you just said?
Yeah, the only limitations you have are those that you place upon yourself.
Yes. So what if you place
No.
great limits?
Yes.
Yeah, higher limits.
limits,
Exactly. There we
Yeah.
go.
But when
Bars.
you're the youngest, like I'm the middle child, I always felt like my younger sister kind of felt like she had to like, do like, even when we were like, well, as girls, like I wear what my sister like didn't wear anymore. And then the other one wore what,
Yep. I got all the hand-me-downs.
the hand-me-downs. Yeah. So it was kind of like,
I was the older child.
no. And then my mom dresses the same. And then I'd be like, it looks like I'm wearing the same clothes all the time because
Yeah.
I would get, the same dress. So
Yeah.
I'm sure you had a lot of limits just being the youngest one. So
Yeah.
now you have to break through those things. You get out of the comfort zone when it comes to the way you've been conditioned. And now
Mhm.
you want to have your own image, your own identity. And that can be hard.
It was hard, man. I mean, I had to tell myself, like, okay, this situation that I'm in life right now, here. I mean, what I had to do is like blame myself for this this wherever I'm at right now in life,
Mm-hmm.
I can change it, but I have to put responsibility on me
Yes.
first and foremost. I can't blame my older brothers.
Yeah,
I can't blame my mom, my dad.
for sure.
I can only blame me because I can
Mm-hmm.
control. I can control my destiny, my future.
For sure. And I know you do a lot of work, on yourself. You're very good at discipline and having these,
Which I wasn't good
habits.
at. I was not.
Yeah. Share a little bit about that. I know you do 5 a.m. cold showers. Like,
Yes.
who does that?
I love to share my 5 a.m. cold
What?
showers.
Yes.
So if you ever go on my Instagram stories, you'll probably see me taking a without like the nudity. Obviously.
You mean
Yeah,
your,
he doesn't
you mean
have
your
an
OnlyFans?
OnlyFans. Sorry.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I'm about to say,
I
you
got
better,
so
you better
many
give me the link for that
DMs.
OnlyFans. I'll be your
I was
first.
gonna say like, comment, and subscribe, but he got to subscribe too.
Yeah.
It's come with a fee. You know what I'm saying? Being fresh ain't cheap, of course.
Yeah. So I take 5 a.m. cold showers because I just want to set again those new limits on myself and be able to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations.
I like that.
And I think that in the career that you're in, that I'm in real estate, I mean, it could be flowers and rainbows, but there's going to be situations where you have to make those difficult calls. You have to have those difficult conversations. Things didn't go well, and it's not a game. This is people's houses. These are properties, thousands of dollars. So
It's their home.
yeah,
A lot of people are attached to their home.
and that was a way, like, if you look up cold showers, you look up Wim Hof, the Wim Hof method. It's also really good on your health, cardiovascular endurance, your blood flow, but it also helps your breathing. It's a way of meditating, and it's a way of being calm in the storm. So I
Yes.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that you love NLP as much as I do.
Yes.
Share about that and your journey with NLP.
Yeah, NLP, which stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. It's a study of the subconscious mind. So again, shout out to Brian Casella, Modern Success, because I learned all that through them. So you got to give credit where credit is due. But it's basically like being able to, I don't want to say manipulate because it has a negative connotation, but it is being able to manipulate your mind and your subconscious mind into, building up whatever you want to build up, your confidence, your self-esteem, releasing like negative things that have happened to you in the past, traumatic experiences, and having a different relationship with your thoughts and your emotions.
I feel like the more you understand what the subconscious mind is, like the better you can work with it.
Yeah,
It's kind of like the manual to your subconscious mind that you never had, and now you learn how to work with it.
Exactly. It's the lost owner's manual to your mind.
Yes.
Like imagine buying a TV and you're trying to set it up, but there's no remote or there's no manual.
Yeah.
So it's like someone gave that to you, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can reprogram, rewire my thoughts in my mind and how I relate to it. Now it just opens up a whole new world to you. That like you could see, like for example, two people can have flat tires. One person's gonna have a really crappy day, another person's gonna make an amazing thing out of that connection with somebody, with the tow truck driver or whoever, But
Seeing every circumstance in a different way, through a different lens.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to hear more about NLP on your podcast and the way that you've been able to use it in your own life and giving other people advice. So thank you for that, because I think that sharing these stories, sharing these techniques to the community is very important.
Yeah, I think it's so important, and even important like in Spanish and English. I hope to one day be able to bring that to our community here, whatever in Elgin or the surrounding areas, because it could really change your life in a good way.
And now we're very lucky to have platforms like YouTube and Spotify, to share this. So where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on Instagram, Rigo _estate. You'll find me there. Okay. I don't really do a lot of real estate on there. I do a lot of like the things that I like to do outside of real estate. Every once in a while I do put something on there so people know what I do.
Yes.
But you can also find me on Facebook, Rigo Villagomez. Villagomez, as they would say back in my high school days.
Yes.
Villagomez.
He said it's the Villagomez.
How do you spell that? Villa, like beef villa?
Yeah.
Don't forget to shout out your OnlyFans,
Yeah. You can find me on OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding.
Just kidding.
At the real V.
Not yet. Not yet. I need to get more.
No
fans
Rico
first.
Suave yet.
Rico Suave and
No Rigo Suave.
deep voice ad.
Oh
Deep
god.
voice it.
That's another episode.
Hello. That's a different
YouTube as
show.
well. My name.
Your name?
YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Rigo
do New
Villagomez.
Limits podcast. We'll do full videos on that. Which actually, New Limits is gonna get revamped. I'm really excited because
Ooh.
it's gonna be more different energy to it for sure.
Okay.
I brought my brother along to the New Limits podcast, and that has been going great. But I'm really looking forward to like creating and revamping that. We're just wrapping up like our season 1 of our podcast, but the new
Awesome.
season is gonna be even better.
Well, we look forward to this new season of Rigo. 4.0, I think we were at.
4.0, yes.
Yes.
Jeez.
No, again, thank you so much, Rigo, for, coming on to our podcast. I'm sure this is not the first time. This was long coming. I don't know why we hadn't recorded this before.
Yes.
But thank you for, everything you do in the community. I know you're out there supporting at the farmers market, at our drumming circles, everything. We truly appreciate it. And we hope to also support your podcast and the things that you're doing as well.
Your many
Yes.
endeavors.
Exactly. So
Yes.
if you see me around, come and say hi. Don't be a
Yes.
stranger. It's all good vibes. It's
He
all
speaks
love.
Spanish. He doesn't
Hablo
speak
español.
Indian.
I'm trying to learn, Pakistani or a lot of different
I
languages.
feel like you have to at this point.
Dude, I do have to. Because then I get interesting stares when I don't.
Yeah, that's funny.
But say hi, connect with us, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's all love.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for everyone that again watched this episode with the Poiema Studio podcast.
Yes, remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, not only to us,
Yeah.
but to Rigo, of course. And remember, if you enjoyed it, share.
Yes.
Sharing is caring.
If you're in the
Sharing
real
is
estate business, give us a like. Give Rigo and
Yeah.
all the real estate.
If you
agents
have
a
any
like.
questions about real estate, you're thinking of doing it, dude, I'll be happy to provide feedback.
Yes. Well, thanks again. We can't wait to share more about Rigo's journey as time goes by. For now, you'll see him around in the drumming circles. Please come and join us. Thanks again for tuning in Tuesday Night Podcast with Cosmic Creations. Ed, thanks so much for allowing us to share the message of inspiration that we had tonight with Rigo.
Yes. Thank you, Ed.
Yes.
Oh, you guys are very welcome. I feel honored. Thank you.
Gracias,
dude.
senor.
I'm blushing back
Awesome.
here. if you
So
guys
now we're
can't
gonna
see.
go finish the hacky sack game.
Yes.
He was talking mad crap. That's why. I want to go at it.
Hey, I'm a big guy, but I'm really good at hacky sacks.
He's very
Oh.
flexible.
No, he is. I've seen him. I was like, how'd you get your leg over your head? Oh my god. Those some skinny jeans too.
That's a
my
new
God.
limit.
I'm impressed.
Hey, it's a new limit. You
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Very true.
Yes.
Very
All right.
true.
Well, thanks, guys, again for joining us. You guys have a great night, and we hope to see you next week.
Buenos
Peace.
nachos.
Hasta luego.